We are very happy to have you here in Mexico. We have here the son and the grandson of Tommy, the little boy, this little boy actually, that lived in Teresin, right?
Yes.
This beautiful little boy. And I would like to start with a sentence from the French writer Azoulay, who said, who wrote about Tommy as if Tommy spoke. And he said, I would like my book to be one of those refugees, so that by opening it after the war, when everything is over, people will find their possessions intact. So they will know that we could be forced to live like animals, but we could not be forced to despair. There is no such thing as art in despair. Despair is simply a lack of talent. What do you think of this description of the book, Tommy?
Well, it's really, it hits the spot, I would say, yes. Really, the book is sign of victory of the good over the bad, yes. To see that grandfather has produced this book explains to me that the soul was not broken, yes. Even if physically our family was destroyed, yes. Grandfather paid with his life for painting all these forbidden paintings, yes. But having this book in our arms and see it, such a beauty, is for me, you know, it's warming my heart that Bezich was not broken, yes, and the good is winning over the bad in our case, yes. So we are very proud, and Bezich is like a hero in our eyes for that.
Yes, when you say he paid for his life, what happened?
Well, my grandfather was a graphic designer.
Yes.
My father was a graphic designer, and due to his profession, he was chosen one of the very special small group of specialists who was sent to Teresin. Teresin is a camp 1 hour from Praha, which the Nazis chose for gathering camp for the Jews all over Europe together, and sent them to the determination camps. And he was part of the first building up transport center there, and they had to prepare it. And then when the transports came, they had to organize everything, you know. You must imagine Teresin was a little town with 5,000-6,000 inhabitants, and it should be prepared for 10,000s of people coming in, yes. So all the structures had been planned before. So his job from the Nazi was to paint construction plans, you know, what you need for building barracks and canalization and electricity. And second, they had to paint like an idealized picture of the life of the Jews, because Teresin had a double function, you know. It was chosen in the Wannsee conference in Berlin as strategically best point to collect all the Jews and send them away. And on the other side, it was sold to the public as a paradise for Jews, yes. So there were painted beautiful pictures, how happy the people are, you know, and singing, and the sun is shining, and laughing and eating. So this, the group of my grandfather and several more painters, this was the official way, yes. And they, of course, were double suffering, because on one side they knew what they had to do, and the other side they knew what is the reality. So then one day, one night came a decision we have to do something against it. We have to show the world the reality, and they gathered together in the studio in the Magdeburg barracks at night. One was standing in the door guarding, looking, somebody's coming, and they were painting real pictures, yes, and they were smuggled out of the camp to the world. They were smuggled out to the world to show the world what is going on there, yes, and so all this came at the same time, you know, the official work and the forbidden work, and also the book that he painted for his 3-year-old son, my father, and Julius' grandfather, Tommy. So this was quite a situation that a normal person would drive crazy from it, yes, but really he could stand it, and it was bad luck that one of those pictures were found on the way, yes, in a gallery in Ostrava, and the Nazi immediately understood, because if these pictures, the dangerous pictures would come out, it would, the whole bubble of propaganda, filming and commission of Red Cross would explode. So Adolf Eichmann himself came from Vienna to interrogate this affair, and it all ended bad. They all were beaten to death or sent to Auschwitz, and but the message survived. The pictures were found, and we can today show what had really happened there in this concentration camp.
But then someone adopted Tommy, no?
Oh yes. There is also a big friendship. Leo Haas, who was a political caricaturist from Ostrava also, he arrived later in Terezin. Yes, Bedřich was the first one, and Leo Haas came maybe 3-4 months later, and they became friends, and all the families became friends. His wife Erna and Bedřich's wife Hansi, so they were staying together. And Tommy, when he arrived with grandmama, he was 1 year old. So he was kind of an angel in all this environment, yes. They were allowed to stay together, the families, in the place where they were been working, and everybody was loving Tomiček, yes, especially Leo and Erna. And Leo was also involved in this propaganda work, anti-propaganda work, excuse me. So they were arrested after Eichmann decided, okay, we must get rid of them, and were sent together to Auschwitz. And before that, they were imprisoned in the so-called Little Fortress. This was no ghetto, this was really a concentration camp, you know, with Appell and dogs barking and Achtung and killing and starvation. So within 3-4 months, grandfather became very weak, and there came the decision, okay, the deportation to Auschwitz. So Bedřich and Leo Haas were sent to Auschwitz. Bedřich arrived already half dead, you can say, yes. Even on the way to Auschwitz, they had to stop for another interrogation in Dresden. And Leo Haas, in his autobiography, describes how he had to carry grandpa already on his shoulders. He could not walk anymore, and these young German boys, you know, spitting on them, and totally humiliation. Okay, and when they arrived in Auschwitz 1 week later, grandfather died, you can say, in the arms of Leo, yes, and before they were sent to Auschwitz, and one night before the interrogation with Eichmann, those painters were informed by a secret person who knew about, he came and said, listen, Eichmann is coming, prepare for tough hours, take warm clothing, and try to hide all your paintings you did. And those were many of them, and all of the painters put them somewhere, under the floor, or in our case, Leo and Bedřich went out for a compound, and the building compound, and digged a hole and put in a box, in an iron box, all the pictures of grandfather Bedřich, which were, I don't know, maybe 200 of them, inclusive the book. And in Auschwitz, when he was dying, he told Bedřich to Leo, okay, if you survive, please go back to Terezin and find my son and take care of him. And also find the paintings, because I want them to be shown to the world. So this explains how important the work was for all the painters. Yes, they knew they're gonna die for this act of resistance. Yes, so they did not want to die for free. So the heaven was lucky with Leo Haas. Leo Haas survived. He was also a brilliant portraitist, and Leo survived because he had to paint for this brutal physician Mengele, who made the experiments on twins. So Leo Haas had to paint the twins before.
Wow.
And this for he survived. And later he was sent also to Sachsenhausen, where he was part of so-called Falls-in Commando, and he made all the concentration camps, and he survived. Yes, and so the first thing after the liberation of this was Ebensee, was this last concentration camps close to Mauthausen. He went back to Prague looking for Tomáš and his wife Erna. And he found also the pictures, yes. And during the same time, I must tell also, because I want to honor the women of these families, because without the women support, the men could not have done this very dangerous and risky work. Because the painters, they were privileged compared to the other victims. They could stay together, they could work in a warm studio, because you cannot work outside painting, and they were also not beaten, and they could stay the families together. And the most important is they were protected from deportation, because the Nazi needed them. So to risk all that, they knew, yes, they could not have done it without the women. This must have been a decision of the family. So they were supporting that. So after the story blew up, they were sent to the little fortress, and there they were separate. Bedřich and Leo were put in a single cell, bound with chains to the wall like cattle, and Tommy was sent with the women to the women's cell. Really, it's dark and no windows, yes, and starvation, and it happened that my grandmother, after she understood that she will never see again her husband, she became mentally weak. The other prisoners tell that she went crazy. And in the early, late 44 and early 45, after the Russians had freed many concentration camps already and were on the way there, so the Nazis started to make these death marches, and prisoners were sent from here and there. So a lot of infectious diseases, for example typhus, was distributed all over. And so it came also to Terezin. So this was the reason why grandmother died there. And the moment where grandmother is dying in the cell of the little fortress, this is the moment where Erna, the wife of Leo Haas says, okay, I will take care of this child.
And what do you remember from your father? What memories do you have of him?
From my father, we remember him very well because, he was the youngest prisoner there in this little fortress. Everybody knew him, so when he came out of the war, he was 4 years and 3 months, and he married then my mother in Praha in the 60s. This was in the Alt Neues synagogue in Prague, which is the eldest synagogue functioning from the 13th century non-stop.
And it was the first marriage after
this
the
was
war, right?
exactly. It was the first marriage after Second World War. So Tommy was even in this situation after the war. Not only in the camp, he was the son for all of them. Even for the guardians, yes, they loved Tommy also. So this marriage was the first big Jewish marriage in after the World War. So it was kind of comeback, you can say that, yes. And life with Thomas, to answer your question, was very special. He was untouchable, you can say. Yes, nobody could. And he had a humor all over everything. You know, everybody knew it. Yes, so maybe this is a thing that, or he learned that in the concentration camp, or he was sent from heaven to be there. Yes, I don't know. And we had with Tommy with exciting life. The first thing, we left Czechia, to Israel after 1968 revolution, and we had a wonderful time, exciting time, and we were 4 children. And Thomas was, as I told, not a typical father, but he loved us very much, and he stayed a soft guy all his life. Maybe he was sometimes a little not patient, could not wait long. But he never touched us, and he never used no drugs or whatever. And he loved Mama till the end of their lives. Yes, and he was working for us. Yes, and in 1972.
Did he tell you about his ordeals in the camp?
About his parents?
About his suffering in the camp.
He remembers.
Did he remember?
Yes, he remembers. He remembers. He remembers on the little fortress, because the little fortress was a brutal prison. Gestapo with torturing, and before that, you must understand, he arrived when he was 1 year old. And he was kind of protected from this group of painters. Everybody loved him and helped him with little food. So there's no bad memory from these days. It really starts when he enters the camp. For example, he remembers the commandant of Little Fortress, Heinrich Jöckel. This was a killer and a sadist, and even he loved Tommy. After, for example, when new prisoners arrived, he loved to choose one of them and beat him to death. Yes, and after that he said, "Bring me Tommy. I want to play with Tommy now." Yes, so Tommy remembers that, and he made kind of jokes. For example, releasing his shepherd dog. This was the favorite dog of the Nazi, or the concentration camp. Had this shepherd dogs barking. Run on Tommy and playing with him. Tommy was so small, so he remembers, he gives an interview after the World War for the Czech radio, and she's asking about Pinja. This was the nickname of him, and if he wanted to meet him again, and Tommy said, no, I don't want to see him again, and what would you do with him? So I would send him to prison if I could, yes. So this is one memory, and more memories Thomas tells in an interview in a TV production of a German director, Angelika Kettelhack. that he remembers two emotions. Yes, for example, when they were sitting in the cell, and the key was going in the door, so everybody became, very anxious, because everybody knew when the door is open, nothing good will come in. And for example, when Tommy grew older, so all of us had a key to not to ask him to stand up, to come in. So Thomas took him always a few seconds until he could relax. Yes, or the barking of dogs, and dogs themselves. He was very allergic against dogs. So when we walked on the street and somebody came with a little poodle or whatever, so Tommy was changing the side of the streets. Yes, and he remembers also the shooting of an execution. This was one execution at the end of the war when some prisoners tried to escape from the little fortress, so they caught them. So they executed them in the middle of the Appellplatz, where the cells were around, so everybody could hear that. Yes, the wall where they shot were right next to the cell number 38, where Tommy was inside. So this is what he remembers, and of it, he remembers also the liberation. He told us, I know that some jeeps were coming in, and Russian and Red Cross, and everybody was cheering and singing and crying from luck, and we all jumped on these trucks singing and went away out of this concentration camp to Prague or wherever. It really remembers me a film which was made from Italian wonderful actor Roberto Benigni, maybe 20 years ago. Life is Beautiful.
Life is Beautiful.
And I was with Tommy, we were in the cinema, and I really, after I seen the film, I turned to my father and said, come on, this is similar to our story, because there's also one father that takes this little boy to the hell and protects him, kind of, this is a game, you have to stand this and stand that. And even when he himself is dying at the end, the child is leaving, the last scene is he's on this tank sitting and meeting his mama, and we have won, yes, is the final sentence of this boy. So you could compare it with our father's history.
Of course. And did you know him?
Yes, I knew him. I grew up with him. I was probably like 18, 19 or 20 even when he passed away. So I remember him very vividly. There was a very particular sense of humor, which was, I think all of us in the family, we inherited the humor. So, and he was he was smoking a lot and very much living life to the fullest. Like he was moving around a lot, spending parts of his time in Prague and then also in Mannheim, which is the city in Germany where we fled to in 73, and I was born in 91. So yeah, it was very lively. We had, for Friday nights, we had always a Shabbat where we had a full house, many people there. I remember as a child running around with my cousins, and he was always sitting at the end of the table and always doing little jokes, like especially with guests and every little situation. So there was always something to laugh about. In terms of what he had to go through as a child, he did not talk about it with me. So these memories that my father was talking about, my grandfather was not talking about that with me. I was not like pushing for it, but I did ask several times, and he did not want to go there. So yeah, he said like, let's be in the moment and be here and enjoy the time together.
And how did you feel in the 7th of October, being grandson and the son of a Holocaust survivor?
It was very shocking. I mean, there was several conflicts and always waves of something happening and terror attacks and this and that. But I think this 7th of October was a seizure that was the next level, and that was something that I had not ever seen in my lifetime. So it definitely brought back this shock of what happened during the Shoah, and I think especially about how we are going to deal with this as a society, and it puts a strong focus on how important it is to put a light on and teach about what happened during the Holocaust, and especially also how we can make sure that things like this are not repeating.
I live in Berlin, yes, and you remember maybe the pictures when the community of Palestinians and Arabs in Berlin started to give baklava to the people. So I'm living right there. So this was maybe so deep hurting, yes, celebrating such an brutal animal pogrom on us, and this was only the beginning, yes, and after that, instead of show some solidarity with the poor victims, it turned a growing anti-Semitism, from all the sides, from the right sides for sure, from the left wingers also. They suddenly opened their real how they see it, yes, and from the education, the college is very important. College, the technical university, there were also students being beaten, Jewish beaten there very brutally.
In Berlin?
In Berlin, yes. There was even an Israeli a student. He gave an interview to an Israeli reporter. They beat him. He was in hospital. It was maybe 1 year ago. Yes.
And it's not just these one things. Like, for example, try to walk with a kippah through Berlin now. You will be attacked. I'm not exaggerating. It's not like it might or it might not. I mean, of course, it depends on the area, but certain areas which are not in the outskirts, which are very much central, it's a fact. It's a given thing. If you try to walk through, you will be attacked, spit at, attacked. So this is really something. It's very, very prevalent, and it's something that changed also. When I grew up, I did not experience that. I mean, here and there, you would come across someone who would express anti-Semitic views.
You grew up in Berlin. You grew up in Berlin?
Not in Berlin, but in the south of Germany.
Yes.
But this feeling of revealing your Jewish identity might become a threat is something that is new since October of 7. Before, we did have neo-Nazis and we did have maybe some Islamist extremists, but it was marginalized groups. It was not like, and nowadays if I'm at an event or at a party or something, I think twice if I should reveal that or not. Not necessarily that I will be physically attacked, but there will be hostility, quite certainly.
And
before that, there were coffee houses, Jewish coffee houses, which were very everyone knew it's Jewish, with making challah there and kosher food and even a Jewish name of the coffee and Jewish bakeries and all that. Yes, they were all, attacked. The glasses were thrown with stones. So the ones that were running these coffee houses, they were in this conflict. So what do? We close it or we stand our position? So some of them had to change the windows every second week, yes, after that, and really afraid coming home, yes. And then we have this big memorial in front of the parliament, yes, these black stones, they were also attacked and humiliated. And really, I must tell you, I thought that our people, the Jews all over the world, after the Shoah, after the Holocaust, yes, I believe we thought, all of us, we paid our price to leave us alone. But it's not like that. It's coming back, and this is the 7th October is another pogrom on us, yes. So it's, first of all, it's very hurting for the families and kind of disillusionary for me. It's nothing is over. We have to take care again and explain ourselves. So this is very disappointing, yes. And asking about the 7th October, of course I was very, okay, we also got in Be'eri and wherever happened. It's not hard to stand by. In our situation, I was very close to the hostages in the tunnels down there in Gaza, because this was a situation like in the little fortress, you know, darkness. Yes, you don't know what sadistic acts will come next. Will they kill you today, tomorrow? And I was very close to them due to our family history.
Yes, I understand. And what does the book teach you? What is the lesson of the Tommy book for our times?
The lecture for our times for Tomiček: you can destroy us physically, but we will never give up. And to show a book in this environment, you know, threatened with death and being part of this false game, and still have the time and the heart to paint something like this, explains to me that this is a proof of you cannot destroy us. Okay, so I'm very proud of grandfather and all of the other ones. Yes, but to have this book, first of all, it's the only thing that remained. We have no stories Thomas cannot tell about grandfather because he was too young. Yes, and but we had when he had the book in his hand and, you know, turning the pages and see, you know, what all he must do in his life. This was when he was close to grandfather. Yes, and I could say he used the book also as a guide for his life. Yes. He in the end of the book, you know, he's warning him not to become a general or not to become a businessman like this. So yes, or a second. Can I give it to you? I can
Sure.
show the picture. This is also the favorite picture of Julius.
Yeah, because luckily, engineer. Yeah, that's it. It was here.
Okay, Julius become. This is one of the profession wishes of my father. He became a book. How you say? People. He learned to how to distribute books. I don't know why he chose book especially, but who knows, maybe because of this. So it had an immense. Okay. So you're closer to me.
Yes.
Okay.
Microphone closer to you.
Okay. So this had an immense impact on Tommy's life. Yes.
But the good thing is that.
Why is it your
Yeah,
favorite?
exactly. Because
Yes.
I mean, he pointed out some professions that he would Tommy not want to go into, like being a general. But an engineer is one of the professions that he listed as something that he could go into. And I'm an engineer myself, so that's something way out of our like personal bias. It's like
It's like a prophetic book.
yes.
And of course, he wanted Tommy also not to be a general, so stay pacifist. Yes. Though Thomas was in even two armies, he was in the Czech army before we emigrated, and also in the Zahal. So he hated war, yes, and I love how this picture is painted. It's like a caricature. I believe it's a caricature on Göring, This was the marshal of Hitler. He was fat, and he changed uniforms every day. So maybe this is also a caricature on him. And I want to show you one picture.
Which one is your favorite?
My favorite picture is this one. This one Julius will show later and explain later. I don't want to talk about this, but I love this picture, for example. Yes, this shows the world of outside, you know, this little boy having a coin in his hands and standing in this unbelievable paradise of fruit and fine things to eat, and a very lovely selling woman gives him what he wants. Yes, so during our life, when we were traveling around the world, for example, my mother, as a cultivated person, always wanted to go to the museum. Yes, and Thomas said, okay, you go to the museum, for example, in Paris when we were, and he went to the market, yes. And also in Mannheim, in our city where we all grew up, there was a weekly market Saturday morning where the farmers sold their things in the market. So Thomas got up very early in the morning and went to the market. Yes, and talked to every one of them, and we all knew this is this book. Yes,
and one of my cousins, Ruby, she's continuing that tradition. She's going to that market every week in his memory also, and also her birthday is on the same day as his birthday. So this is like a connection here.
And what is election for you?
For me, it's pretty much that even though he was caught up in this darkness and all this cruelty happening around him, he still had the capacity to not just, survive, be in survival mode, but beyond that, had the ability to paint all these very nice and colorful sceneries, because this book doesn't have any sad pictures in it or paintings in it, and I think this shows a really, really strong resilience, even more so than the urge to survive, and that's something that I think is a big lesson, that even though something might be very, very dark, we might be in a desperate situation, or we might be in a situation where we are worried about the future, but there's always a positive way to look at it, and there's always a way to put the focus on the positive and colorful things.
You can choose not to be a victim.
Yes, exactly. That's one way to put it, yes.
Thank you.
And the book also, must understand that this is the only thing that left personally for us. Okay, all these pictures of Betsy Fritta and also Leo Haas after he adopted Tommy. So they are ours, but they have the reason to be shown to the world. So we gave them then to important museum, a Jewish museum of Berlin. It's the biggest Jewish museum in Europe. People from all over the world coming there, and really Betsy Fritta is there in the central position. So I visited several times. People are looking at it. So this the pictures do their work like Betsy wished, and every of the artist wished. Yes, the book has a double function, I would say. For us as a family, it's a treasure. Everyone knows the book. We all had it in our hands several times when we visited Tomasz. After Tomasz got it from Leo Haas, which was quite late, only to his marriage. Leo Haas was a little bit concerned that Tomasz would lose it. He understood before this value of the book, yes, and from then it was there. So when every time we visited it, you could take it in your hand, and we knew about it. And after Tomasz left us, Tommy, it stayed by occasion in my hands because I organized an exhibition in Berlin these days. He did not write no testament, okay, I want that Julius keeps of it, so it's kind of being in our family, and luckily my brothers and sisters allowed us to also give it away to the public, yes, so it's now also together with all the originals. And in my work, sometimes I am invited for a school to tell about a story, and this book is like a key opener to the hearts. Because if you show them these horrible photographs of mountains of glasses and shoes, how long can you stand it? Automatically, the body will build resistance. So you keep your teeth together and you try to forget. With this book, you slip deeper inside it, because it's lovely. It's showing sun and a baby is running around and making fun, and only from the side of your eyes you understand where it's happening. Yes, so it's very useful also for education. Many school classes work on it, making theaters and all kind of projects about it. So it's very, very important. So this is double one for. And Thomas decided one day. He said, "It's a book for all children." Yes, so that we want that many children knows the book also.
Thank you so much. Thank you.